Hi, welcome back. Here with Halftime Report. The stock on our radar now is KC International. The company has bagged new orders worth almost 1,500 crores across their businesses. So for T&D is where they have the major order, which is about 1,257 crores and about 100 crores, a little close to that, each in cables and the railway business. Vimal Kejriwal, the MD and CEO of the company, now joins us on the telephone line. Mr. Kejriwal, good afternoon. Congratulations and thanks very much for joining in. So these new orders that you've got across the three verticals, could you give us a sense of what the revenue recognition timeline is?
So if you look at these orders, a few of them like from the cables from West Bengal and the PGCL, etc., the work has already started. The others which are from overseas, Bangladesh, Nepal, etc., they will take some time, but I think they will start kicking in around February, March of this year. The revenues will start coming in.
So how much of these revenues will be realized in FY20?
FY20, yeah. I think except for the one in SA Towers, which is EPC contract, will take some time. Almost all of them. I think if I just give a ballpark number, probably around 1,000 crores out of this will definitely come in FY20.
You know, the sense that we're getting, Mr. Kejriwal, is you're getting a lot of international orders, right? But has domestic ordering peaked out? Are you not seeing any kind of orders coming from the domestic market?
So if you look at the overall market, what you're saying is right, that domestic T&D market, we are seeing a bit of a slowdown. But if I look at individual as KEC and especially Power Grid, which is the most talked about, client, we have roughly around 700 crores of orders we already have. In this order also there's one order from Power Grid. And we are L1 in another 600 or so. So for me, this year we'll probably close with Power Grid around 1,300. Which is actually higher than last 2 years of 1,000 crores each. But yeah, general trend we have seen that there seems to be some slowdown in the overall order in this sector in India.
And also you yourself had indicated that you would go slower with order bookings, right? So therefore, I mean, with that backdrop, what is your internal target for orders, and what's your current order book looking like, and where are you going to sort of wrap it up in FY19?
So if you look at our numbers for this year, till now we have announced orders of around 9,400 crores. And we have another L1 position of almost 3,000. So let's say we'll have around 12,500 based on the current position. And we should get some more orders. Last year our order intake was around 15,000 crores. So we should probably be at least at the last year, maybe slightly more than that. But I think that's what we are not targeting very aggressively, going beyond last year. Because if I look at my order book today, with 21,000 of this and 3,000 of L1, if you add that, it's 24,000. That's more than 2 years of my revenue.
Mr. Kejriwal, how much of this order book is international business? If you give us a rough percentage.
So international is now roughly around 50 to 53%.
50 to 53%. I'm asking you this, Mr. Kejriwal, because I remember when commodity prices were going higher, one concern was that most of these international orders are on a fixed price basis. So that could hurt your margins. Now I'm looking at commodity prices, they have cooled off quite a lot. Will that help your margins? Will it help your profitability?
It will definitely help, at least to some extent, to the extent that we are not hedged. So all the new orders which we have got, it will help us because we would have quoted them some time back at probably at a higher commodity price. Okay, so there would be some benefit flowing out of it, definitely.
So out of the 52% international orders, how much of it is hedged? How much of it is not hedged? How much of it is basically on a fixed price basis?
International, I will say virtually everything is on fixed price basis.
All right. So then that could definitely be a tailwind then for the company.
There should be a tailwind definitely from that, as well as from the rupee movement.
Okay. So a stronger rupee is good news for you?
No, a weaker rupee is good news for us.
Weaker rupee, yeah. So the rupee, then it doesn't become a tailwind, right? If
the issue is that the rupee is now strengthened a little bit. But if you look at these tenders which were quoted 3 months, 4 months back, we were talking about 68 rupees and all that stuff.
Okay, so you're saying in comparison to what it was, it's at least better than 68. If it was 74, it would be very, very good news.
Yeah,
but at least at 70 and a half as well, it's a tailwind for you.
Absolutely.
All right. In Q1 and Q2, there was quite a lot. We didn't see very, very big growth in terms of T&D orders. For FY19, how is it looking? That's about the T&D, that's the bulk of your business. And also railway revenues for this year? Is it going to be closer to the target you had given us earlier, 1,500 crores?
Yeah, definitely. I think we should do slightly better than that, maybe 1,600 or 1,700 crores, because the pressure on execution and all is continuing unabated. So railways will definitely beat the target. Okay. Now coming to the T&D order intake, yes, phase first 2 quarters we were slightly lower, but now if you look at even yesterday's announcement, 85% of that is from T&D. So clearly we have seen a strong uptick in the T&D orders, especially from the international market, SAARC, Middle East for a change. Okay, both these regions have been actually giving us a lot of orders. And if you look at our L1 of 3,000, almost I'll say 92% of that is from T&D.
Okay.
Okay, so in the second half, then do you think you'll catch up to, in terms of your revenue growth, to that 15% mark which you had guided for? Because H1 so far is only adding up to about 12%.
So revenue growth, we think, honestly I'm not very sure whether we'll be able to catch up or up to 15%. It would be obviously in double digit, closer to 15 or closer to 10, I do not know, because there are some headwinds which, because of the RBI issues and all that, many of the clients. So we've been facing some resistance somewhere, but it's definitely, we are hoping that we are able to touch 15%, but if not, then maybe 100 basis points here or there.
100 basis points. So at least 14 to 15, 14% is the base case.
Yeah.
14%. Okay, very quickly, debt in your books, any plans of reducing it, and give us a sense of your working capital cycle, sir.
So debt is around 3,000 and odd crores. Okay, and I think it's slowly improving. I'll say very, very gradually. Hopefully by March there should be definitely some improvement in it.
All right, working capital cycle?
Working capital is also slowly improving.
Well, what is it at? If you could give us, what's your receivable days?
Receivable days are roughly around 245 days or so. Okay. And as I said earlier, the problem is not on the receivable days. The problem was more on the payable days, where because of the strong restriction on liquidity, etc. We were actually supporting our suppliers by paying them early, etc.
What is the working capital days then?
So net working capital days is around 140 days, 144.
And what was it earlier?
At the start of the year, it was close to 100. Went up to 144. Now it's slowly inching down back.
Okay, all right, Mr. Kejriwal. Pleasure talking to you as always. Thanks so much for joining in. All the best for the remainder of this year. Well, on that note, we'll slip into a short break, come back, continue our focus on the market. Stay with us.